And Man on the Inside Season 2 just dropped on Netflix. And if you need a recap of what went down in Season 1, I got you. We're talking theft, mystery, comedy, drama. We're breaking it down from episode 1 all the way to episode 8. Let's get it. Ted Danson plays Charles. His wife passed away recently. Super lonely existence. He spends most of his time doing up crossword puzzles, reading, walking through the park. His daughter pays him a visit with her 3 boys trying to cheer him up. And she feels bad for him, man, because she could tell he has all this time on his hands, you know what I'm saying? He's lost the love of his life. She's like, yo, Pops, maybe you need to find a hobby. Find something that excites you, something that keeps you busy. When she dips, he picks up the newspaper and boom, there's an ad. Wanted, investigative assistant, male, age 75 to 85, must have phone, open interviews. Turns out Julie, this private investigator, has got a new client, Mr. Calbert. He wants to find his mom's stolen necklace. It's a valuable family heirloom. Ruby, expensive. The mom is in a nursing home called Pacific View. So Julie's thinking if she gets an old dude to infiltrate the joint, she can figure out what's going on. A bunch of old dudes show up for the interviews and it's hilarious. Cause yo, she's not asking for much, you know what I'm saying? She's not looking for a super spy. She just wants someone who has an okay grasp of technology so they can take photos inside the nursing home and send them to her. The minute Charles walks into her office and she finds out he's a retired engineer and college professor, she's like, yep, that's my guy. She fills him in on the case. She's like, I want you to go in there, pretend to be a new resident, gather information on the other residents, the people who work there, and we should be able to get to the bottom of this thing in like a month. And you can just check out, say you've changed your mind. We get a little training montage where Julie's trying to help Charles to be, more perceptive. She's like, no peeking. Describe the people sitting on the table behind us. Charles is like, couple, young, both brunette. She's like, nah, they both blonde, bro. She's like, who's over there by the trash can? He's like, a woman in her 20s, covered in tattoos, big hoop earrings. She's like, no, it's a man your age. So clearly our boy Charlie, he's not, he's no Sean Connery, but he's so excited, it's hard not to root for him. They meet up with Dee Dee, the woman who runs the joint. Julie's like, yo, I'm his daughter Emily. They get a tour of the place. When Charles sees the memory care center joint, it hits him hard and it brings up memories of his wife because she had Alzheimer's, memory loss, all that. The whole situation hits a bit too close to home for him and Charles fumbles. And when Diddy asks him if he wants to move in, he's like, you know what? It's a lot to think about. Give us a few days. Julie is heated. She's like, yo, what was that? This plan is intricate. It's like a 10-step plan. You know what I'm saying? The plan was for you to enter the facility. That was phase 1, bro. How you bozing up phase 1? But then, he opens up about his wife and how bad it got at the end and how she begged him to let her stay at home because she was scared about what it would mean to be behind that door. He's like, I don't think I can do this. Turns out Julie can relate because she went through the same thing with her grandfather. She's like, look, everybody's different. But what helped her through her grieving process was going back to work, solving cases. He walks away, clears his head, and decides to lock in. He hits her up like, okay, let's do this. He checks in. Dee Dee hooks him up with a schedule for the first week. He calls up the real Emily and he tells her he's joined a photography, painting, gardening class. He's not the best liar, okay? And she's happy though, yo. She's like, yo, he's found a project, he's keeping himself busy. He's got something to focus on. The next day, Charles wakes up super hyped, ready to begin his journey as a spy. So boom, Charles wakes up in the nursing home, ready to get the whole undercover thing popping. He's linking up with the residents and then he rocks up to breakfast. And it's like being in high school all over again, man, because one of the ladies looks at him like that. I was like, screw face on deck.
You can't sit with us!
He looks around and it's just little clicks, you know what I'm saying? And my man just stands there feeling like he doesn't belong. And shout out to Ted Danson, man. The acting is on point. He's just standing there capturing this feeling of alienation and loneliness. It's beautiful and heartbreaking. He goes back to his room and he's chilling, man. There's a knock on the door. It's two of the residents, Florence and Virginia. They've got balloons. They're like, hey, welcome to the residence. Virginia is feeling him. She's flirting. She's like, you look amazing in that suit. She's stroking his arm. Ooh, you're so tall. They do up some lunch. He starts taking pictures of some of the residents. Like, hey, I want to send them to my daughter. Show her, how I'm settling in. This lady, Gladys, who used to work in theater costume design, gives him a little welcome gift. One of the dudes who works there, Jalen, is struggling to make a Manhattan for one of the ladies. So Charles steps in like, yo, I got you. I'm a beast at making cocktails. He gets behind the bar and he makes drinks for the other residents. He meets this dude, Elliot, who's super into Cuban cigars and is super friendly at first, but gets a bit standoffish when he sees all the female attention Charles is getting from the ladies. They drink, they go outside and hit up some of that Mary Jane. He gets smacked. Julie visits him the next morning and tells him to lock in. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, you're out here getting high. You know what I'm saying? Pizza in the bed. What are you doing? Keep it professional. She tells him, yo, you gotta go and speak to Helen Calbert, the woman whose necklace got stolen. So boom, Charles hollers at Helen. He tries to play cool, man. He's asking her if she feels safe. You know what I'm saying? But Helen, man, she's got big Karen energy. She pulls the alarm ting on him and he ends up in Dee Dee's office. They talk about Helen. Dee Dee's like, yo, she claims she got a necklace stolen, but I don't buy it. Things go missing sometimes up in here, but they always turn up. We find out that Dee Dee's the one who sent Virginia and Florence to his room to try and cheer him up and make him feel more welcome. Shout out to Dee Dee, man. She's a real one for that. Charles finds a note on his door telling him to back off. He tells Julie about it and she's like, yo, someone's probably onto us. And if they figured out what we're doing, this thing could be over before it even starts. When Charles gets back to his room, he's recording his thoughts on his dictaphone thing for Julie. He's like, yo, I think I'm bad at this. I don't know how to be a spy. I'm just a retired professor who should be having a glass of wine with his wife. He's like, yo, I think you chose the wrong person for this job. Charles isn't the only one going through it though, man. His daughter got a handful, man. Her three boys were messing around on the trampoline, broke their bones, you know what I'm saying? They're at the crib doing the most. She sits down with her hubby and they're like, yo, we are low-key screwing up this parenting thing. Charles goes out for dinner with Virginia and he keeps it 100 with her. Like, yo, it's been like a year since my wife died and I wish I was, but I'm not ready to get back out there and start dating again. Virginia takes it well, man. She's like, look, I understand, but we can still have dinner as friends. And they do, man. They have a great time. Charles hits up his daughter to wish her good night. And she's like, yo, I am a rubbish mom. The boys hurt themselves. I don't think they're doing too good. And he reminds her of all the crazy stuff she did when she was a kid. And he's like, Ems, what's more likely? That you and your husband, two amazing, loving people, who've poured your lives into these kids, somehow both failed. Or they did something stupid because they're teenagers and teenagers are stupid. It makes her feel better, and speaking to his daughter reminds him that the simplest explanation is usually the right one. So boom, he figures out who left that note on his door. It was Elliot, bro. He was jealous of the attention Charles was getting from Virginia because it turns out they used to be a thing. Charles confronts him like, yo, what's going on, man? While they're going at it, Jalen walks in to ask Charles if he needs, anything from town. Charles clocks it like, yo, the staff can go in and out of the residents' rooms. Charles reports back to Julie. Elliot's outside smoking his cigar. Someone sneaks into his room and swipes his super expensive watch. There's a resident council meeting and it's pure chaos, man. People are complaining about the heat, the food. The food's too salty. It's not salty enough. You know what I'm saying? The air, the vibes, security, everything is giving Facebook group energy. Then boom, Elliot bursts in and accuses Charles of stealing his watch. Man points at him like, yeah, you did it. Charles is like, bro, I just got here. I didn't take your watch. Julie comes over to his room. He tells her about Elliot's watch getting stolen. There's a knock on the door. He opens it, and it's Emily, bro. It's Emily. She's like, I showed up to your crib for a surprise visit. You weren't there. I used the locator app, and it's brought me here. And they're telling me this is your apartment. They're telling me this is your room. Like, what, you live here now? What's going on, Dad? He's like, look, I can explain. She rocks into the room. Julie greets her like, hi, I'm Emily, Charles's daughter. And the real Emily is like, what is going on? They fill her in on the investigation, you know what I'm saying? And she's trying to wrap her head around it. Like, yo, this is dangerous. It's crazy. And they're like, no, he's not in any real danger. It's all good. He's just spying. Dee Dee rocks up like, hey, I didn't know you had a second visitor. He's like, yeah, this is my niece, Julie. Emily kind of goes with it, man. Dee Dee's like, look, I'm going to show your niece around, give her a tour. Charles and Julie are low-key freaking out because they don't know if Ems will slip up and throw him under the bus. But as Emily's showing her around, she kind of has the same reaction that Charles has, you know what I'm saying? She thinks about her mom, the dementia, and she hears about how much the staff love her dad, you know what I'm saying? She's slowly coming around to the idea that this might actually be good for him. She actually teams up with him at one point, man, and it's adorable, seeing them work together, sneaking around. And Emily hangs out with Virginia, Florence, and them, you know what I'm saying, spying. She gets the tea, you know what I'm saying, about some of the staff members, Jalen in particular. In the library, Charles links up with Calbert. He's the resident backgammon champ. He's usually on his own or playing backgammon with Jalen. So Charles decides to sit down with him, play a game, and get some info on Jalen, because he's like suspect number one at this point. Elliot is still fuming about the stolen watch. It's not just the fact it's expensive. It means so much to him because Virginia is the one who gifted it to him. It all comes to a head when Elliot catches Charles slipping and punches him in the face. Charles goes back to Calbert for another game because, he actually enjoyed hanging out with a dude. Dee Dee's getting super suspicious, man. She asks some of the staff to do some digging and keep an eye on Charles. So Charles has narrowed down the suspects to 4. These are the 4 staff members who were working during both crimes. We got Penny, the med tech, Dennis, the resident chef, Pilar, the head nurse, and Beatrice, the activities director. Charles chops it up with Beatrice and finds out that she'd met his wife before, passing. Oh, and she's from a super rich family, and they basically invented trains. She works at a joint volunteering as a way to give back. So yeah, highly unlikely that she would steal the necklace or the watch. Like, she's not like, she got money, she good. Charles is like, look, right now we're focusing on the people that work here, but maybe we need to look up the residents as well, because maybe it was resident on resident crime. Julie doesn't buy it, she's like, why would you pay thousands of dollars a month and then steal a necklace, steal a watch? Like, what's the motive? Charles joins the art class to try and get closer to some of the residents. He sits next to Calbert. He finds out the homeboy used to work at the Pentagon as one of the cooks in the cafeteria. Charles asks him about some of the other residents so he can compile his list of suspects. We got Grant. He's a bit eccentric and out there, but he harmless. We got Beverly. Beverly's horned up, you know what I'm saying? She's on it, but also super Catholic. We got our girl Florence, Virginia's homie, the one who, welcomed him at the beginning. Charles tries to get closer to her by joining her Shakespeare performance class. She gives him the text and he starts reading out loud. All the world's a stage and the men and women merely players. But he's struggling to connect with the words, man. She tells him to lock in, feel the words, try and find out what they mean to you. He joins exercise classes. He carries on going to the art classes. He's getting closer with the other residents, especially Calbert, man. He actually meets his son, CJ, and it's kind of deep seeing how my man looks forward to his son's visits and the look of disappointment when he can't make it. CJ tells Charles, yo, I'm so glad to see my dad actually make a friend in this place. He visits Julie and Megan at the office and is telling them all about the new clubs he's joined, the connections he's made. And Julie's like, yo, you are getting too emotionally invested, bro. He's like, you know what? You're right. He notices that Florence is acting a little bit shady. So he follows her and sees her meeting up with this bookie. Turns out her deceased husband used to place bets, and by connecting with him, she feels a little closer to that memory. Calbert opens up to Charles about his son moving to Singapore for a promotion. And he's like, I just need to accept that my son is not a little kid anymore. He's not that little boy I used to take to Nadia's, the best ice cream shop in the city. Heck, the ice cream shop, it shut down as well. Charles goes around the city to the 3 best ice cream joints and gets a tub of ice cream from each one. And he's like, yo, Calbert, let's chow him down and see if we can beat Nadia. Yo, it's so wholesome, man. He leaves his recording devices, all his spice stuff in the room, and he goes down to hang out with his new homie. Julie comes up with this amazing idea. Let's lure the thief out, set up a trap. She gives him a Rolex as a present in front of everybody, and they set up a hidden camera thingy. The plan backfires though, because instead of taking the watch, the thief leaves Elliot's watch. The one that went missing? Yeah, that one. Whoever did it didn't get picked up by the camera, and Julie's thinking they were trying to send a message, let you know that they know you're an undercover spy. Charles hides the watch on the patio. One of the cleaners finds it and turns it in. Dee gives it to Elliot, like, yo, we found it, you must have dropped it or whatever. Obviously, he's happy to have it back, but he's like, yo, Virginia gave me this watch. It means the world to me. I would have noticed it missing with a quickness. And yo, you can tell Dee believes him, like she's low-key getting a little bit suspicious. Charles's neighbor, Gladys, she's starting to show heavy signs of memory loss. She's confused, she's forgetting simple things, and the community is slowly stepping back. Like you see her just alone most of the time. And Charles doesn't get it, but Elliot tells him like people do that because they know that person is about to get moved into the memory loss care unit, and they just stay away from them, like it's contagious or whatever. But Charles, his wife went through the same thing, so he wants to be there for Gladys. He spends time with her. He asks her to help him, nice up his jacket so she can keep busy and use her skills. Virginia and Florence go shopping. They are dancing in the aisles. Florence has always wanted to get one of those fancy massage chairs. She's always put it off, and Virginia manages to convince her to get one, a little self-love. Elliot gets news from the doctor that his cancer is back with a vengeance. This makes him reflect on his life and what truly matters, He goes over to Virginia and tells her how sorry he is for everything. And he gives her his blessing if she wants to get with Charles, because, he's actually not a bad guy. They dance, reconnect, and she gets down on one knee and actually proposes, man. And of course, Elliot says yes. Florence dies, bro. She dies. It's so unexpected, so left field, and it hits everybody like a ton of bricks. And the way they set it up, man, it's perfect. We see the ambulance and the paramedics. Virginia, Elliot, Charles, and them are chilling. Like, yo, Florence should have been here by now, man. She's running a little late. And slowly, that realization of, like, the ambulance might be here for Flo hits them. Dee's standing there trying to keep it together. Virginia rocks up to her like, yo, is it Florence? Is she gone? And Dee hugs her and is so emotional, man. Her passing rocks Pacific View, man. And to top it all off, Gladys has been moved into the memory care joint. The real MVP of this episode is Dee. The character development is next level. We get a true sense of how much this place means to her. Like she really cares about the residents and the people working there. But it's hard, man. It's a lot of juggling different things. Like the minute she walks through the door, someone's asking her for something. Things need fixing. She's making phone calls. The chef rocks up to her like, yo, we are missing a bunch of salt shakers. We need to hit up corporate and get some new ones. There's this dope scene where she closes the door to her office, shuts the blinds, lies down on the floor, and she's staring up at the ceiling, headphones on, listening to ocean waves. Her bosses at the big offices offer her a promotion. She gets to work at corporate, get a bigger paycheck, and she's low-key thinking about it because she loves Pacific View, but it can be emotionally draining and things don't move as quickly as she'd like them to move when she wants stuff done. Everything going down is all a bit too much for Charles. he dips out and goes to visit his family. Like, he just rocks up unannounced. And Emily's like, it's a bit of a crazy day, because I've got a bunch of errands to run. He's like, yo, don't worry about me. I'm just going to chill on the couch and play video games with my grandkids. Julie hits him up like, yo, where you at? You were supposed to link up with me in my office this morning. My man's like, nah, it's been a super rough week. I just need to get away and be with my family. I'll be back tomorrow. He spends most of the day playing games with the boys, having a good time, but the emotions sneak up on him, man, and he breaks down. The kids tell their mom, like, yo, granddad is going through it because, he lost his friend. And Emily feels some type of way because she didn't know this. So in the car when she's driving to the station, she tells him that it low-key hurt her feelings that he couldn't come to her and talk to her about Florence dying and Gladys moving into the memory care joint. And he's like, yo, I didn't want to burden you with what I'm going through. I'm your dad. It's supposed to be the other way around. And she's like, nah, the burden is you not telling me what's going on. But he's like, yo, you spent the whole day avoiding being alone with me, running errands. She's like, you're right. Mom was the emotional glue that kept us together. But as soon as she died, you packed up all her stuff in boxes and we didn't speak about it. We need to be more open with each other. She decides instead of dropping him off at the train station, she'll drive him all the way back to Pacific View so they can have hours on the drive to unpack everything. And yo, it's super emotional and raw and awkward. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the relationship they want and they don't know how to get there. Emily's like, I don't know what that relationship looks like, but when we get there, we're gonna know it. Emily stays at Charles's place for the night, so she doesn't have to drive back. And Charles, he's back at Pacific View just in time for the memorial service. Florence was loved by a lot of people, man, and they get up there, share stories about her, funny moments, sweet moments, painful moments. Virginia thanks everybody for being there, and she tells them how amazing Florence was and how much she loved her. She asks if there's anyone else that would like to say something, and Charles stands up and goes to the front. It's a beautiful moment, man, because we're seeing Charles open up. We're seeing him be vulnerable in front of all them people, and we know that's not how he usually is. He's like, Florence was one of the first friends I made in this place. And he reads the Shakespeare joint that she was telling him about. All the world is a stage. Hey, yo, this scene broke me because as he reads those words, we see moments that match the energy of those lines. When he goes, his acts being 7 stages. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. Then the whining schoolboy with the satchel. We see the grandkids chilling at the crib. And when he goes, and the lover, sighing the furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. We see Emily on the phone with her husband, showing how much they love each other and how even just being apart for one night, they miss each other. When he goes, then a soldier full of strange oaths and bearded like the part, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrels. We see Julie at her office, shaking hands with some new clients. Yo, it was beautiful, heartbreaking. And then we see Dee Dee in our office, lying on the floor, headphones on, tearing up. And then we see the ceiling where she's looking up, and there's a picture of her hugging a sweet-looking elderly lady who we can assume is her mother or grandmother, someone close to her. She gets up, gets in her car, drives to the store, picks up a bunch of salt shakers with her own money, buys some gum. She's driving down the road, blaring her music, chewing the gum. She gives the chef the salt shakers and apologizes for being a little abrupt with him earlier. He's like, yo, how did we get them approved so fast? She goes into her office, sits at her desk, and locks in. At the PI office, Mr. Calbert sits in front of Charles, Julie, and Megan and goes, yo, it's been 30 days of surveillance, 30 days of suspects, and we got nothing. I'm gonna file an insurance claim on the necklace tomorrow and pull my mom out of Pacific View. Charles is like, yo, we can do this. We can solve the case. But Julie low-key agrees with, Mr. Calbert. She's like, yeah, we ain't cracking this one. I'll let Dee Dee know that you're moving out tomorrow. So essentially, it's Charles's last day. Beatrice takes some of the residents out on a field trip. They're in the mall, looking at stuff. Charles is kicking it with Calbert, and he finds out that when he moved from DC to be closer to his son, they always talked about going around and exploring the city, but they never got around to do it. Charles is like, you know what? Let's do that right now. Let's do it. Let me show you what makes this city so dope. Let me show you my version of the city. Julie goes over to Pacific View and tells Dee Dee, hey, my dad's gonna move in with me. I have a room available. We've decided Pacific View, it's not really the right fit. Dee Dee's like, oh, for real? But he was fitting in perfectly. Like, what's going on? Julie's like, he didn't really love the people. I mean, he got punched in the face, for goodness sake. Dee Dee can sense that something's off, though, you know what I'm saying? She gets on her laptop, she's looking up Emily, and Julie's done her due diligence, man. The images that pop up, there are images of her. She even has a profile with a number of where she works, this college where she works. Dee Dee calls the number and it gets intercepted by Megan at the office. Megan hits up Julie like, Dee Dee's suspicious. We need to get Charles out of there today. Dee Dee's convinced there's something weird going on, man. She brings Julie back to the office to sign the discharge papers or whatever. And she's low-key grilling her. She's trying to figure out what's going on. She's like, hey, what about his niece, Julie? Let's give her a call, see what she thinks. She dials the number. Emily picks up, but she's already been given deets by Julie and them, so she's just reading all the information from her laptop and giving the correct answers. Meanwhile, Charles and Calbert, man, they're taking in the sights, hitting up all the touristy joints, the hidden gems. They check out a baseball game, they check out the bridge, they sit in the park, they talk about their wives, how they met them. It's funny and heartfelt. They get to a restaurant, they have amazing food, they talk about life, loss, friendship, love, and my man Calbert actually confronts his son CJ and tells him how he really feels, and it's raw and beautiful stuff, man. Back at Pacific View, Julie's in Charles' room packing up his stuff, and Dee Dee rocks up and goes, that day that Elliot punched Charles, 2 people signed in as Emily 2 hours apart. So what is going on here? Charles arrives and comes clean. They explain everything. Dee Dee is angry. She feels betrayed. She's lashing out at Julie. They're going back and forth. And Charles jumps in and goes, hey, listen, guys, I figured it out. I have solved the case. We find out who did it. Charles and Dee Dee go into the memory care unit. They go into Gladys's room. Charles tells her he needs her help with the costume. He asks her if she has a ruby necklace he can borrow. And she gets up, goes through her trinkets, her costumes, props, and retrieves the missing necklace. Yup. Turns out it was Gladys, man. It was Gladys all along. She wasn't being malicious or anything, man. She was just mixing things up. She was mixing up the residents with characters from the plays she'd worked on. She was confused and seeing things as costume props. Charles gives her his little stuffed dog that he carries around with him, the one that his wife gave him. It reminds her of a dog she used to have. Case closed. Dee Dee's still super upset that they lied to her and spied on the residents and her staff. She tells them they have an hour to get all their crap and leave or she'll call the cops. Charles goes over to holler at Calbert and Calbert's like, I bought the book you wrote. I need you to sign it for me. Charles signs the book and then tells him, look, I've been working undercover this whole time. But he tells him, look, I never lied to you though. I never lied to you about who I am, about what I did for a living, about my wife. But Calbert, he doesn't want to hear it, man. He feels betrayed and lied to. He's like, I've heard enough. Charles goes back home with Emily and he tells her it's time to go through the boxes of her mom's stuff and, work out what they're keeping and donating. They're going through everything, reminiscing, cracking jokes, bonding. They're looking at photographs. Emily finds this bag with her mom's favorite candies and snacks in it. And Charles is like, yeah, she packed that one. She saw me packing and wanted to help. And Ems is like, wait a minute. You packed these bags after mom had died. How would she help you? You know what I'm saying? What? But it turns out near the end, it had gotten so bad that Charles had found a memory care facility for her. And he was going to take her there and everything was packed. And, she passed away before she could go. But he feels like he let her down because he promised she would never have to go to a home. And he broke that promise. And it's been eating him up ever since. Emily's like, yeah, but the person you made that promise to wasn't there anymore. You gave her the best life you possibly could. And Charles can't hold it in anymore, man. He breaks down. He's crying. Emily's crying. Like, you did the best you could, Dad. They hug each other. They're crying. Hey, yo, I ain't gonna hold you guys. Rewatching this, for this recap, I was crying as well, man. When my dad passed away, me and my mom went through a very similar situation. She wanted to be strong for me and my siblings, like he's in a better place, all that. Now, I'm kind of like the designated, optimistic, lighthearted, positive dude in the family. And even though I was falling apart and she was going through it, we didn't really, talk about it like that. We didn't really address it. But a few years back, I was in London. She flew in to visit me. It was just me and her. She'd cooked this traditional food from the motherland that I hadn't had since I was a little boy. We had some wine. We had this moment of honesty and clarity. And this scene, man, it captured that feeling perfectly. Just before Emily dips, she goes, "Remember when I said I wasn't sure what our relationship should look like, but we know it when we saw it? This is it." Back at Pacific View, Dee Dee's told the residents to come to our office one by one so they can ask any questions, raise any concerns about the whole Charles situation. And, they can talk about it freely. Most of them feel betrayed, especially Calbert. He's like, "That man made a fool out of me." At the PI office, Mr. Cobbler's told that they found the necklace and the case has been solved. And he's like, "Well, I still don't trust that place." And Charles is like, "Yo, what are you talking about? That place is amazing. Dee Dee really cares about the residents. She cares about your mom." And Mr. Cobbler's like, "Yeah, if she cares so much, then why is she leaving?" Charles is like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, she put in a notice right after you left." Emily's like, "Oh, well, it be like that sometimes. It's been great working with you, Charles. Peace out." Charles is like, yo, it's not over. She quit because of us. We need to convince her to stay. Julie's like, "Nah, man, that ain't none of my business." Charles is like, "You owe me a favor, bro." So they rock up to the coffee shop where Dee Dee's at. And they're like, "Yo, you can't leave." Dee Dee's like, "Look, I messed up. You guys snuck in under my watch. I'm supposed to keep them safe and I failed." Charles is like, "You love your job. You care about the residents. You belong there. You can't leave." Dee Dee's like, "Yo, you were only there for a month. What do you know?" He's like, "I didn't need a month. I knew it as soon as I got there." And he brings out his little dictaphone recording thingy and he plays it back. And it's a recording of him on his first day. And he's like, "Our biggest obstacle might be Dee Dee. She does not miss a thing around here. She's loved and respected by the staff and residents. She somehow knows exactly what the residents need and provides it with dignity and grace." He's like, "Yo, you knew I was lonely. You sensed it. And you sent Virginia and Florence to my room. You helped me. You've helped me get my life back. What's going to happen when the next lonely person checks in and you're not there?" And Julie jumps in. She's like, "Bro, I know you don't want to hear from me right now, but you and me, we're similar. You are a workaholic. You live and breathe your job. I can tell you actually care. And that's rare. You caught me. That's never happened to me before." The next morning, the residents are getting ready for Virginia and Elliot's wedding. Calbert finds out that Dee Dee has decided to stay. And he's like, "Hey, let's go." He hollers at her like, "Hey, I heard you're staying." And she's like, "Yeah, it was actually Charles who convinced me to stay." Calbert finds the book that Charles had signed for him, and he looks at what he wrote down. For Calbert, a new friend, which feels like a miracle. Charles finishes giving a guest lecture, and Calbert's there to see him. They catch up. It's beautiful. Everything's water under the bridge, and he brings him along to the wedding as his +1. Everyone's so happy to see him, even Elliot. The music's playing, people are dancing. Dee Dee's watching from a distance, happy. Charles is sitting at a table with Gladys. It's beautiful. Later, Charles and Calbert sneak away and play backgammon, cracking up, having a great time. The season ends back at the PI offices with Megan telling Julie, "Yo, we have to take this case. It's a juicy one. They're offering a lot of money. We gotta take it." She's like, "Yeah, but we can't. We don't know anybody that can pull it off." Megan's like, "But we do though." Julie's like, "Who?" "Oh no. It wouldn't work because," she hits up Charles like, I have another job for you. Charles is standing there looking cool in his suit, all suave, you know what I'm saying? He's like, say no more. Hangs up. Then he calls back. He's like, hey, yeah, sorry, you do need to say more. But whatever it is, I'm in. Hey, if you've made it this far, thank you so much. Please give the video a like. If you haven't, please subscribe. I'll be back with the next joint. And until then, you take care of yourself, fam, because I love you.